and how he died. And his last word with the children of God before he died, that says, "As for me and my household, we serve the Lord." He called them to charge them, he showed them the way of God. But unfortunately, in Judges 2 verse 10, Bible says, all the elders, all the older ones joined with the ancestors. And a generation arose that does not know God. You can see how disastrous that generation will be. A life, a generation without God. When we look around us today, what is happening? Our youth are following the world. And world have nothing to offer them than pain and sorrow and regret at the end. That is why we are trying all our possible best to make sure our youth, they end up well. We give them every Sunday with different speakers. But today, I'm glad to announce to you, since the year we have started, we are having the best speaker today. Why did I say we are having the best speaker today? I met this young man a few months ago, but his life has become a great testimony to me. And this made me to believe that what I've been telling my children at home is a reality. And what is that I'm telling them? When I look around and the opportunity the youth of today's hour, I resort to, if you fail, you choose to fail. One night, that word came to my heart. When my last daughter came home and said, "Daddy, I have an assignment, give me your phone." And she went to Google and began to, in our own time, do we know Google? When my second son went to sit for WAEC exam, and he said, "We are allowed to use calculator." In our own time, 4-figure table. If you don't know how to read it, you are on your own. We can see there are opportunities today. The Android phone we are using every day, we are blessing in it a lot. But we are using it the opposite. I met this man, Mr. Anujalo. He's a physical challenged man. He cannot see. But what made me to fall in love with him is a teacher. And he's teaching in the school of people that can see. And is one of the best teacher in that school, a senior teacher, and is teaching one of the core subjects, which is English. And the children love him more than most of the teachers that are not physically challenged, because he has time to listen to them and is bringing the real them out of them. You will hear from him today. If he choose not to become a liability, in the part of Africa here, when a child is born and they found out that physically challenged, will result that child to 0 level, to relegation. So they even tell him from childhood to go to shoot and beg. But he chooses not to be a beggar. He chooses to become a person to be reckoned with. Anytime I see it, I think about this. If you have eyes, you have legs, you are not sick and you fail, don't blame your parents. Don't blame your government, blame yourself. yourself. He's a great teacher. At times, I try to introduce the student in school. Do you know this man? They say, yes, I know him. He's a very good teacher. We love him. We love him. We love him. He's here live with us this morning. He will be talking on youth and education. I want you to listen carefully. Try and get something from the message is about to pass this morning. And I believe that before this message will be over, try and see something in you that you must correct. If he has come here this morning with him at the gate and say, Babiala, Zabegi, we just go back, look down on him, we give him what we have. But he's here to talk to us. And as I've told you last week, we are not aligned to go the way we come. We are going to pray for him, and we are going to show him some love, because his life is a great testimony. Youth, please listen. I believe that you are here with your writing materials. This man used phone, he used laptop, he teach with projector, a course subject. And this school, they have a competition with Methodists. We know Methodists in this country is one of the great schools. And they beat Methodist hands down. And you know, because Methodist is a great school, maybe the principal or the teacher go underground to know who is behind their success. And the success was traced to Mr. Aliuda. That is the one that took his time to train his children. Let's put our hands together. Let's put our hands together as we welcome Mr. Aliuda. As I told him, I don't want to stretch him. I want him to say so that he can talk with us.
A very good morning to everybody. My name is Ali Jala. I wish I could stand. That is my usual preference. But today I will sit. But I believe you've all seen my ugly face already. Yeah. But trust me, Jolas cannot be more handsome than I am. Yes, I believe there are some Jolas. They are always somewhere around. I'm a fuller, so. But I'm so glad to be here. And I hope I am audible to everybody. Okay, as Pastor said, I am a youth teacher. I am a youth myself. I consider myself a youth. I think in our social context, you would hear the one say, Mom Dola, right? For example, if I were to die today, I'm just, this is coming 22nd July, I'll be 28. Right? So if I were to pass on today, people would say, Mom, right? I think that's what they would say, right? They would say, I died young. So that's why I said I am a youth, like many here, and I'm so happy that there are youth around. Because my talk will be centered on youth and education, which is very important. Now, before I begin, perhaps it is very important to tell you a little bit about my life, my story, but that I would like to do sometime after I had already begun to present to you what I have prepared. I spent the whole night awake trying to put this into Braille. I think perhaps you could have seen this before. Now this is called Braille. It's a system of embossed dots. These are perforated dots on a piece of paper, which visually impaired people or people that are blind touch and then read. So I am not reading by my eyes because I lost my sight when I was 4 years old. I lost both eyes. I was operated on in Senegal, Dantec. So there I lost all my sight. But it had never stopped me. I played and fought and did all things that children do. Yeah, I think some of my friends, I used to climb mango trees, and I was beaten for doing that. Climb walls and go everywhere. Go and Sajakas, go and see them and all of that stuff. So I had a very nice childhood, and blindness has never been anything that stressed me out. There are some things that stress me out, but it is not my disability, because my disability is part of me. I don't even remember much about seeing, right? Yeah, if you ask me, do you remember seeing anything? If I tell you anything, perhaps it would be what I see in my dreams today, but not what I saw with my eyes. So that is just some part of me. So let's talk about youth and education. Now, before we begin, please, if we have women and girls here, please, most of my talk will be centered on the third person he. So when I'm addressing the youth, I might use the word he, but don't think that I'm trying to stereotype or trying to be biased, gender biased and stuff like that. When I say he, just know that to be the general name, right? My he, when I'm talking about the youth, might also be the she, right? So when I say he, it's not as if I'm only talking about boys, but I'm using the word he as the general pronoun that I'm going to be using for the youth that I'm going to talk about. I hope that is clear. All right. So, who is a youth? Now, I think it is very important for us to get our definitions right. Now, technically, a youth is simply a person living their lives within the period between childhood and adulthood. The United Nations defines a youth as one living between the ages of 15 and 25 years old. But socially, especially when speaking about Africa, we deem as youth any person within the period of life when they are not expected, or they are young enough not to be expected to take up certain responsibilities in society, such as leading extended families. But also we do ascribe that term youth to anybody in our society who is just about that particular age when they are expected to get married or be wedded. Thus, you do see sometimes people ascribe the term youth to a couple that are 25 or 27. Now, what about education? What is education? Education, on the other hand, is the process of learning or acquiring knowledge or skill that is significant to a person's well-being or survival. Philosophically, When I say philosophically, I'm now talking about deep thinkers. What do our great thinkers throughout the ages tell us about education? It's nice and fine to get the definition as given in dictionaries. But let us see what thinkers told us. Philosophically, we are taught that education is the key to success. Everybody knows that. Alex Connor said, quote, "To teach a child is to turn walls into doors." Now, what does it mean to teach a child is to turn walls into doors? If I say to you that teach a child is to turn walls into doors, are you saying that when you teach a child, you are changing that child from a wall to a door? No, let us take an analogy. Now, a better analogy would be when we compare the uneducated person to a baby in the mother's womb. The baby does experience things at certain times during the pregnancy. You do hear mothers say, "Oh, the baby kicked," right? But does the baby know where he is? Does he know why he is there? Does a baby in the womb even know who he is? Now that is the similitude of the uneducated person. The uneducated person is living in the world, but does not know why he is really here. The uneducated person cannot make good choices. Yeah, now struggling with this here. So he cannot make good choices. He experiences the world, but does not know why things are the way they are. Right? Or the educated person does not even know if things could be made into something else, or whether he could change his situation in another way around when situations are unfavorable. Therefore, education becomes the light with which this person can see and recognize himself for who he truly is. What choices to make about life, and becomes the means through which a person transforms walls into doors in his life, i.e., create opportunities for his potentials. So if a person is uneducated, they are just like the baby in the womb. They will dance around, but they don't know why they're here. They don't know the purpose of life. Anybody can come and pick them up and take them. They move with the crowd. If a person is uneducated, they are unaware of how best to make use of life. But in the first place, I hope you can still hear me. I'm struggling with the microphone here. I have to hold it and hold my paper. That's fine. But should a youth care about education? Is potential or power or energy alone not even enough to bring about all these benefits we talk about education? Cannot vigor or stamina or ambition alone get one far enough in life and bring about success? Well, let us imagine. Now I would like you to indulge me. I want us to imagine the lives of uneducated people. So let us imagine the life of two uneducated African youths. two uneducated African youths. Right? Now here is an African youth who believes that education is a waste of time, that acquiring skills is too difficult. So he drops out of school and seeks no skills. Now when this youth wakes up in the morning, he would wait upon his parents' generosity to breakfast. Oh God, help the parents. If the breakfast is too late in coming, he will curse them for being too late, too old and stingy. Now this youth has potential, but for lack of knowledge, he has no, I was not being heard? Okay, thank you. That will really help. Alright. Thank you. So this youth has potential, but for lack of education and skills, he would sit all day on the street. He goes to no job because he has no knowledge or skill with which to do any job. And before you could do a job, you must have the knowledge for that job. Before you could do any work, you must have knowledge of how that work is done. Because this youth is even unwilling to educate his mind in the discipline required to do some of the most unmundane jobs, such as washing cars or barbing hair in the salon. This youth would have to sit all day. He has not educated his mind, not trained his mind in order to be willing to do these mundane jobs. Is that the end of this story, the story of this youth? No. He listens to the music of successful artists singing of high life, which only frustrates him further since he does not live such a life. He has big dreams, yes, but with no education with which to bring about such dreams. Such a youth is angry at everything and at everyone. Yes. He even hurls insults at anyone who looks at him for too long. A hungry man is an angry man. And if you don't go to work, you think angels would come down and put things in your pocket. Most definitely not. The era of manna and salwa is gone, right? That was for the Jews. Who knows? So, the uneducated youth is mostly that youth you find on the street very stressful. It's most of the time unhappy about his life. If anyone looks at him for too long, trouble. If you look at him for some time, he thinks you are cursing him. You are the source of his trouble. You are the one who has caused his life. The old lady that passes by, most unfortunately around Timis or dusk, is the person who brings trouble in the one that is responsible for all the trouble. You see, this is the kind of life this person would live. And believing in pouring water on what? In the morning when you wake, on your door, to get the blessing of some angels. So the uneducated youth is so unaware that he would start to worship inanimate things like water and the looks of people and things of this sort. Now, to escape, we are still talking about this uneducated youth and this life, all right? We'll talk about the benefits of education. But I want for a moment for us to talk about what happens to a youth when he's uneducated. And I am quite sure that you have seen some of these qualities, right? In some youths. Now, to escape the creating of dreams of a high life, the uneducated youth would engage in drugs to forget himself, so he wouldn't have to think about his rotten life. This is the youth who when intoxicated, would get into fights, stabbing people on the street. Remember, this is a youth who has so much energy and is full of stamina, yet spends it all on racing anti-crime officers on the street. That is the use of this energy. Because if you haven't taught your mind as to what to use that energy for, what ends up happening is you will use that energy against racing with anti-crime officers. Instead of working somewhere, gaining money or earning a good life for yourself, all the stamina in you, all the life in you, all the robustness in you, you will spend it running away from officers. This uneducated youth, good friends, is the one who would look upon a young lady but would not have any elder to bless him or to give him their daughter in marriage. And it is the same youth, due to lack of education and not being aware, that would impregnate their young fellows and leave the care of such children completely in the hands of the lady, breeding poverty. But it wouldn't be just fair to talk about the male youth. Of course, this youth we are talking about also could apply to that young woman who abandoned education to sleep around with men, messing her life, messing her body and her dignity. Girls, see, education, if you go back to history, the single thing, the most powerful tool with which women had ever been able to free themselves from societal prejudice is education. That is why some men would tell you, I don't want to marry an uneducated woman, right? Because why? Because he knows her rights, he knows how to argue back. Right? Please, I'm not saying you should argue back. I'm just saying that when you are educated, at least you would be smart enough, right, to know when someone is abusing you and when they are not, right? So the best tool for girls and women in general is education. Be educated, so that people can respect you, so that you can have some worth. I will pause a little and talk about what is going on in our society. We don't wish it for anybody, but it's so hard to keep marriages these days. I'm not married, I'm just told that it's very hard to keep marriages these days. Right, Pastor? I think Pastor would say something about that, right? Marriages are breaking left, right, and center. What is the cause? Well, it's very complicated. But all I'm trying to say is, if you are aware, you will be very able to know what your rights are and when you are being abused. And absolutely, I think even God would not want people abusing each other. But my point about marriages and breaking is this. Today, people can hardly be trusted, right? So if you don't care for your education as a girl and you go to your husband's house, you don't know anything, all you know is to do the house chores. God, the day that husband goes and finds someone more cute, and that's the day you are done, right? Right? And they would always tell you, the heart is a beast. Oh, the heart is a what? No, you are the beast. Jihad did not do anything. It had always been there. Alright? But you should be educated enough to stand for yourself. So that if things go south, as the Americans would say, so you have something to hold on to. Now, let's go back to the uneducated youth. Look, these uneducated youths are always the young people who listen to politicians, who repeat lies that they have told to our grandfathers, yet not be able to comprehend these lies for what they are. They are so gullible, so easily fooled, so taken up with the crowd. Such youths do not only waste away their lives, but also destroy the lives of others through stealing, robbing, and inundating our prisons, wasting away resources of the country that are desperately needed. But is it all bad? Is there any hope for this uneducated youth? Does he have any hope? How does the uneducated youth think about this life and how to leave it behind? Unfortunately enough, most of the uneducated youth that we have on our street do not think of educating themselves, but their only hope is to find a way to Europe, sneak into Europe as if Europe can be sneaked into, right? With no certificate, with no documents, no degree, and hope to become something in Europe. So this uneducated youth, against good advice, would put great capital. Imagine the capital that is put in going to Europe. 100,000, right? Some 150,000, who knows? Most of that money, if you had put it, invested it on a corner shop, it would have benefited you a lot. Many Kolfutas come from Guinea and make a life here. Just with a little corner shop. They start a little corner shop, and before you know it, they bought a compound in Japan. Go to Japan. That is the Kulafuta town, I think, in the Gambia. Please, this is not any form of discrimination. I'm just speaking to the Gambians and everybody living in the Gambia and young people in general, that they are making it here. Most of those who come from Guinea, this is their America. Yeah. It is here what they have, all that they have, that they send to Guinea or other countries. So why can't you make it here? Why can't you learn from somebody how to cut bread, put on the mayonnaise beautifully, and that's learning, it's knowledge. Or if education is sitting in the class is too difficult for you, and you manage to sneak out of that system, well, we have a lot of things here. Tailoring, right? You can learn how to do that, right? You can learn how to drive. These bike cars, do you know how much they make a day? Now, the uneducated youth would not do that. He would risk his life in the desert, in the Mediterranean Sea, throwing away the hope of all those who had loved him in the Mediterranean Sea. A great game of dice. In one swoop, you could succeed and be a captive of the Europeans, who are so eager these days to deport illegal migrants. We've heard of Rwanda. The British government had made arrangements with Paul Kagame to deport some Africans, to deport all Africans that go there illegally. Very soon other countries would follow suit. So it's a game of dice in the Mediterranean Sea. One could either succeed or face deportation, or die and be swept away by a sea that has no care for the lives of men, leaving mom, sisters, brothers, and little ones whose wounds will never heal from the loss. And these youths leave Africa drained of young people, the blood of every nation. But let us talk about another uneducated African youth. This one is close to home, and I say close to home, it means close to myself. Now this is the youth that is denied education by his people, his own people, because of a disability he has. These are the youth that are told that they cannot learn, but they can beg. So these youths are taught all the recitals, right, and are given a cup to keep coins in. A betrayal of human dignity, a betrayal of human intelligence. In Senegal, they have illegalized beggars on the street. When you are caught, something is done to you. But here we still have that. Because the country has made it possible for such people to enjoy some amenities. But that is not my point. My point is to invest in education. Now, this youth that is taught to beg, and sometimes it's so hard that you find them come and knock on your door and say, we are here to beg for our dad. Your dad doesn't teach you something but to beg. I'm sorry, but this is what we must not tolerate in a country that seeks to go forward. For these youths, or elders turned, or youth turned to elders, are the ones you see on the roadside, racing cars to get pittance, or sitting in the sun, begging for coins. On them, you see the sweat, and I've been told of horrendous things. Sitting in the sun, when the rain comes, it rains on you. If you are here and you have disability, know that it is not an excuse not to learn. I had my disability when I was 4, and I finished my education. I graduated, I furthered my education, and today I am teaching at a high school. It is a shame that we still have beggars on our streets. But how can that be changed? I don't see how in my generation. I don't know. But maybe you the ones coming up, you can change that situation. Now, what about if we have educated our youth? Would we have youth sitting on the street or something of this sort? No. Would we have fights and stabbing on the streets by young people who have completely lost touch with reality? No. Sometimes you meet youths on the street, what they say you cannot even interpret, even though they speak in your own language, because they are completely gone. Now how about if we educated this youth? The youth who has endeavored to learn education would give such a youth the avenue to put his knowledge into good use that would generate benefit for him. A youth with education is independent and confident because he has something to offer society. Unlike the uneducated youth, who is a liability to his people, the educated youth is a resource and an asset to his people and his society. No one could enslave such a youth. No one could manipulate the educated youth because he has both potential and knows how to stand for himself. This is the youth that is able to honor his parents for all the care they have shown him in childhood. This is the youth that could go to work and afterwards return home to a wife or a husband. Because the educated youth is trusted. He is trusted to marry because he could sustain a family of his own. And he is smart enough to care for a home. An educated youth or an educated person is deep in thought. He is able to use the artistry and the creativity of the mind and have the ability to discover new ways of thinking through the shifting possibilities of our civilization. We know that technology and everything about our world is constantly changing. It is only the educated youth that can keep pace with this change. Do you know that sometimes you'll be walking with a person in an institution and they will come and tell you, "Hey, how do you put this flash drive? Oh, how do you copy and paste? Oh," right? Because they have not kept pace with education. So we must do that. The educated youth, when a person is educated, they are always looking forward to updating themselves, updating their knowledge. Education is powerful enough that it could empower the weak, the vulnerable, the persons with disabilities. You know what? You see, if I had not had education, today I'm talking about beggars on the street, perhaps I would have been the one begging on the street. Because there are many like me out there. Let me tell you one very funny story. There was a time I was crossing traffic lights. So I was standing by the road and I wanted to cross going toward Bakau. And there came this man using what? And you know what he said? He revoked me. He said, "What are you doing? Huh? How long have you been standing here?" I told him, "Mother, you are speaking in full. I've stood here for a very long time. Why didn't you give some of your charity money to somebody to get you across?" So for him, I was like him. Just like he begs for charity, he thinks I'm someone begging for charity as well. So I should have given, and I was going to work, by the way. And there he was, telling me that I should have given some money that it is given to me for charity, as charity to someone to get me across. But he did not know I have gone well beyond that level. And what gave me that was education. Education lifted me up, and because he had no education, he remained as a beggar while I went on my way to work as a different disabled person. It is therefore only education that could put on the first row those whose society has put behind. It is education that could uplift the blind man, the man who has been ostracized by relatives and discriminated against since childhood. And that person is me. I used to remember when my mom would talk about her relatives, she would say, they used to say that I should never take you to them for a wife because you are blind. But most of those people who used to say that today, when we chat on WhatsApp, they are so amazed. How can you use WhatsApp? I say, come on. If you are not careful, I'll hack your phone. Because there is nothing that I cannot do with information technology today. No, that is true. That's an example. I mean, there is nothing that you can do with your phone or your laptop, on social media or work with your documents that I cannot do. I can type faster than many sighted people, and all of that is through education. I will conclude very soon. I have not been brief as I thought I would. But you see, trust me. You see, education is power, right? No, if I like, I would jump on this table and dance. You know why? Yeah, because it's simple. You know why? Look at them out there. How many people did you meet on your way today here begging on the street? How many of them are out there? Did you accord any of them the respect you accord me?
No.
Why?
Because of the knowledge.
Because of my knowledge. So knowledge does not only mean power, but it also means dignity. If you have knowledge, you are dignified. Right? You walk into offices, people call you sir, when you have not even, you know what I'm talking about. You enjoy some certain privileges with education. And you see, a person, let me say, a youth or a young person who has not trained his mind in education is a fool to be. Not yet a fool, but a fool to be. Because at any day, someone who is knowledgeable could come and deceive you. So I would conclude by saying, education is your light in this ever-changing world. Education is your light. Education is your insurance to the future as youths. If you are looking for insurance, go for education. If you are educated, you are guaranteed. Guaranteed not to be deceived, guaranteed not to be discriminated against, guaranteed not to be set aside, guaranteed not to be put at the back of the queue because you don't have enough documents, guaranteed not to be, called late or after everyone has been called. If you have education, you have insurance. Without education, your situation as Africans will never change. As African youths, it will never change. We will continue to remain as our grandfathers were till date, beggars to other nations of the world. We must embrace it. We must embrace education. For just as food sustains the body, so does education sustain the mind. An uneducated mind is like an empty land. No good trees bearing fruits and full of weeds. I believe we know what weeds are. Students, agricultural science students, you know weeds, the bad one. So some people will say education is hard. How do you learn? How do you study? It's hard. Well, it all starts with knowing your goal. If you know where you're going, then it would be easy to get there. But if you don't know where you're going, it becomes very easy to get lost. What am I saying? I'm simply saying, whenever you think education is hard, think of who you will be without it. If you think education is hard, think of who you will be without education. I don't think you would like that person. It would be someone you despise. So you must learn. And to learn, you must be humble. You must be humble. Right? You must be humble in order to learn. You must have discipline too. Remember, everybody has someone they say yes to. Right? Everybody has it. So it is not a problem to say yes to the teacher for that day, or for that year, or for those 3 years. Just learn and get the knowledge. There will come a day when no one would order you around, tell you sit down, write that, and something like that. So, humility, discipline, and knowing why you are learning is very important. So learn to educate yourselves as youths, like I have done, and many of our colleagues here too. We have youths, I believe. I cannot see, but I can hear. I can analyze. I know some of the voices are people who had graduated. All right, but I'm just saying that you can do a lot with education that you cannot do without. So I thank everybody, and I urge you to hold it like you hold on to life. Hold your education as you hold on to food. Remember, it is the food for your mind, and it is the guide to the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Jalo.
Thank you, sir.
Thank with your speech this morning. And in your speech, we have learned how not to give up. No situation, no circumstances that can stop us, according to your speech, unless we stop ourselves. Youth, this morning we are here because of you. As Mr. Jalo was talking, I was jotting some things down that has been my habits. And part of the thing I jotted down, there are questions I want to ask. But I will not be the one that will first ask the question. I believe the youth, they are here this morning with their mind, and they can see the man physically. Some years ago, we showed a lady on the screen on a wheelchair. She shared testimony and she become a public speaker. Some months ago too, or a year ago, we shared a man that is crippled. And he told us when his father took him to school, and the principal looked at him and said, Mr. Man, this kind of child is not accepted here. But this man ended up graduating. Even when he came to the university, a lecturer entered the class, expecting them to teach them, and he said, where do you pass to enter the school? He said, the gate. Say people like you are there begging. But the man don't allow all those things to move in. I believe that day when he was speaking, or one of the day, the man that discriminates him will see the video. I want to thank God for Mr. Jalo's life. Youth, we're expecting question from you. Or what you have been saying, don't hear anything. Please, technical department, Mr. Jalo, please listen and give us the answer.
Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
Mr. Jalo,
Yes, sir.
we are very appreciated that you are here. We learn from you a lot. Actually, it's something that is baffled me. Because you need to understand that you lost your sight in the age of 4 years. And I understand that you are the one that penned that note down, really. And you are reading perfectly. I want to know actually, I really want to know outcomes, really, outcomes. Because I understand that you lost your sight, obviously. So I want to know, because it's so baffled me, because I want to speak with some people out there when they ask me, because there is a need for me to tell them, say, I learned from a blind person. Because some of them will not believe, obviously. Because they will doubt the outcome. So I want to know so that I need to tell people out there really.
Okay, if I get your question, are you saying you're baffled about how I read? Yes?
Yes.
Oh, the reading, Braille actually has been here for so long, since in the 19th century or 17th by Louis Braille. Yeah, please, they can have some of this. Right.
Have you ever seen it before? Something like this?
Yes.
It's like they use a pin. I've seen it in Nigeria several times. That's what it's reading. It's not written.
So
You can, if you have not seen it before, just look at it and say from Nigeria. Sorry. You can pass it through, pass it through. Let them see this word, direct word. You can pass it through, this is it. Can you read it? You can pass it through fast.
It's pas too fast.
Yeah.
He have about 6 to 7 pages here.
Yes, they
He
can have.
did it himself.
Yeah. Sure.
We have taken about 3, they are passing it around.
Good. So that is great in essence.
As you are passing around, please, book don't talk. Listen to what he's saying to us, please. We are hearing this, sir.
Yeah. You see, the human brain actually is what processes information, right?
Yes.
When you look at something, it is your brain that processes what you see. Now, what is the difference between you that sees and the mentally challenged? You can see that you, the one, okay, you would see rubbish here or a bin and not go to it, right? A rubbish bin. You wouldn't walk into it, right?
Yes.
But the one that is mentally challenged would walk right into the bin and start peeping into it and looking around and doing stuff like that, right? Even so, what is the difference? It's the brain, right?
Yes.
You have, it is not just your eyes that is enabling you to avoid that rubbish bin or the refuse. No, it's actually your brain. It is your brain that tells you, oh, that thing you are looking at is disgusting. You shouldn't go there. Right? So the same brain that you have, that is in there, right? Is the same brain that is also here. Yes, I cannot use my eyes to process writing, but I can use my skin, right? By touching and feeling, I can know that this is here. Even if you put this paper behind me, I can read it. I can read what is there, right? Not be able to comprehend the lights for what they are. You see, I'm reading. Am I looking at it or anywhere else? No. You can read by project. So you can read, and the advantage of reading great is you can even read at night. Because you don't need to see anything. When I finished my first novel when I was 12 years old.
Your first
Novel. I read my first novel and finished it.
friend,
When I was 12, yes. And that was
he has written a novel
actually I read it.
at the age of 12.
Yeah, I read this novel. I'm writing a book but which I've still not finished. I read Harry Potter. I think you all know Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, yeah.
Yeah. That was my first novel. I used to read it at night. I'll just be lying on my bed and then I'll be reading. So that is great for you. Okay, do we have any other question?
That answer is clear. Okay, any other question?
Praise God. I have a question and I have a contribution. My first question is, how do you cope in your place of work?
How do I cope?
At your place of work.
Oh yeah, actually,
Challenges.
my place of work, I'm very familiar with the environment, first of all. Also, I have a technical assistant who works with me in the class. I actually use a projector, like Pastor said in the beginning. That's my Chromebook there, right? Oh, it's here. Anyway, so I just connect my Chromebook to a projector, and I will be at the back because I can type. We have whiteboards in the school. In every class there is a whiteboard, so we just switch on the projector, turn it towards the whiteboard. Whatever I type on my PC would appear on the board. So my technical assistant does the class controlling, making sure students aren't doing those things they like to do, right? And marking up class my script and other stuff. Yes.
Just one more. You said education is the key to success. But he said education is the key to success. But to me, I disagree partially to that.
Okay.
Because you cannot, sometimes you might not have that education and you might be successful.
So
to me,
say again. Sorry.
you might not have education and you might be successful.
Could you give
Yeah.
another?
I want to give you an example.
Yes.
Like,
Please, let's listen, please.
to me, I believe education, as we know, is a legacy we can give to our children. But to me, I see education as an opportunity. Opportunity in the sense that for you not to be here is because of the education you have. That's an opportunity you have. Secondly, I've known somebody that was, when I was in Nigeria, he was not educated. He became a deputy governor. But later he went back to school for that education. So to me, education, because that was the problem we had in those days. When our parents, they would tell us, go to school to have education. If you become a doctor, a teacher, you'll be successful. That was what we had then. And that was affected us now. Because education is not, to me, it's not a key to success. It's just an opportunity. For example, in my family now, if they have maybe a job or something like that, they will just say, okay, if you have social degree or something, you can come. Like maybe if you want a help, maybe I have an uncle that is a politician, and he said, okay, we want you to help our son. That does not make me, but the opportunity, because I have an education. Just recent, I was on TikTok. I saw Tinubu's list.
Okay.
There is this, I don't know how to read it, artist, Jide Sokosoko. He said they want to make him minister. Yeah, I think Jide Sokosoko then does not have education. But he has to go back. But now he has the opportunity to become a minister. So education is about, as we have to encourage our youth, when you have education, you have the opportunity to do so many things.
Yeah, but I think you're misunderstanding it a little. Education is not only limited to the school.
For the classroom.
No, it is not. Even here, this is education, right? When we learn the purpose of life, when we learn how to behave, when we learn character, when we learn how to comport ourselves and how to conduct ourselves, that itself is education. That is why some people, you will hear people say, oh, he did not educate his child. Doesn't your parent teach you? What do we expect parents to teach children? A, B, C? No. Morals, right? Character, conduct, comportment. Right? So education is not just limited. When we say education is the key to success, please, education can happen anywhere. Even a child, a little child can teach you something about life. A little child, you can learn wisdom from a child. Even a dog can sometimes teach you something. Look at how dogs that you have fed and taken care of, when they see you from afar, what do? They run up to you, they lick your ears. Are they not teaching you loyalty? They are teaching you loyalty, right? That is education, and you must be loyal to your people if you must be a good leader. Even a dog can teach you loyalty. That is education.
Let me wrap this way. To add more to it, my brother, understand education one-sided. Education is not limited to the four walls of the classroom. Fela sing a song in the Sierra Nigeria. He said, when we are toddlers, our parents are what? They are our teachers. When we get to school, teachers become teachers. When we get to university, lecturers become teachers. When we begin to work, government become our teachers. Before they tell us time to come to work, time to close. You can educate without going to school. The church we are coming, even this church, a teaching church, is an education center. Do you agree with me?
Yes. Yes.
Education is the key to success. You don't need to know how to read and write only. You can see a person that never went to school before become a millionaire. Because he was taught how to manage his life and his resources. And with someone that went to school, who is a waster, is begging from government that don't go to school at all. Every day, Whether you go to school or not, we are learning. Let me add on to it. Now, the way we greet in Nigeria is not the way we greet here. I cannot look Dr. Stephen and say, Stephen, come here. But here's it happened here. I have come to learn a new thing here also. You cannot, I cannot walk to that chemical and say, how are you? I have to do like this. Good morning, sir. What is special to me? But we find it here. We have come to learn. Not because they are rude or they don't know. That is their way of life. We have to balance it now. That's all about education.
Thank you. Thank you for making this clear to him. But that was what I wanted to say. That at the same time, that governor that was appointed, he went back to school. Because he knows that education is important. That prompts him to go back to school to learn more. My question here is to Mr. Daloya is, in your endeavor towards your studies, were you having colleagues that you studied together?
When I was what?
In your endeavor to your studies, were you having your colleagues that you went to school together, that you studied together?
Your colleague, you mean visually impaired, like myself?
Okay.
Colleagues, right?
Yes.
I did my primary school in the blind school. We have a blind school in the Gambia. That is the one at just beside Ndavos, right? Yeah, currently. Ndavos there. I did my grade 1 to 4 there, and I was always the best in my class. So so I left that school at that grade. Then went to Bakote proper. We did the common entrance. Out of 583 students, I came out on top. Right?
Bakote proper.
That's proper, yes.
School of the blind.
No, that is grade 5. I did my grade 5 there.
There. How manage?
There it was a little hard because I was just newly integrated into the normal school, that is the mainstream school. So life was difficult at first. I was not, because at the blind school we are not many there. You will have 5 students in a class.
5 students.
5, in the blind school, 5 or sometimes 4 students in a class. But in this school, there were about 50 students, 60, 70 students in the class. So in the beginning it was not easy. But as time went on, I got up, and as a child, you will have friends and then things like that. It became easy. So does that answer the question?
Yes.
And you came out first.
Yes, in my common entrance. Grade 5, we used to have this common entrance. We used to do.
My last question here is like your clothes. Now, let's say you are living at home with your family members, and your clothes are being good with their own. How can you identify your own clothes with their own?
By touch. By touch.
No, I mean your own dress, like what you put on now.
My clothes.
Yes.
By touch, just as I am able to identify this letter is A and C, I am able to touch, and it's the same fingers that are touching my clothes and know, this is not mine, this one is wrong.
So one thing I want us to do, we have said something earlier. Is the brain. Is the brain.
Thank you. I asked this question because high school,
It's very important.
when I was in secondary school, I lived with a blind person. He's also a teacher in my school.
Okay.
We are friends, very good friends. We are many in the house, but he took me to be his friend because I'm always have that empathy for him.
Yeah.
But because when we are eating, they will put the food on a tray. My colleagues will eat in front of him so that he will realize that the food is finished. But by then, we start to say, the food is sweet, very delicious, but very little. From there, my friends will start laughing. We'll be pushing and pulling to push back the food for him to eat.
Okay.
So it's there that we became more friends because of my empathy that I have for him. And also, we mix our clothes, like the towel.
Yeah.
we put our towels together with his own, he will come and distinguish his own towel to wipe his body when he finish washing.
Exactly.
And they like to post on pictures.
Yeah.
When they bring those pictures, we bring those pictures to me to see how beautiful the picture looks like.
Yeah, that's right.
And he even got married and has kids. So God be the glory.
Yeah.
Just as what we are doing, that much must be.
Exactly.
You, we are still expecting question from you. You are the reason why we are here today.
Well, I guess the youth is young in heart, even though I'm still a youth, actually.
Let's hear you very well.
I consider myself a youth, but
Oh, yes.
Mr. Jalo, I'm very privileged and honored to be here today to hear you give this beautiful speech to the youth. I hope they've learned something and gained something from your words of wisdom. I want to ask two questions. One, do you have a family? Are you married, or do you intend to, if you're not married, do you intend to have a family in the future?
Yes. I don't have, like, if you mean married, I'm not married, and but I also don't live with my family. I'm living with friends, but very, very good friends too. And yeah, I am living and sleeping and waking like everyone else. I suppose, yeah.
Okay, thank you. And then the second one is, as a young man or a young boy growing up, where did you get your drive? You know, I consider education as a drive to success. So where did you get that drive, or a mentor, or the passion for what you do?
Excellent question. When I was young, my mom always tells this story until now. She says, because my brothers were sent to school before me, because they can see and I could not see. But when I'm at home, my mom, when she tells, because I'm very familiar with my environment, even though blind, I run around and do all stuff. So when my mom tells me, she says, she narrates that when she asks me to bring something for her, I will say to her, no, I will not. You sent all my brothers to school and left me here alone. I will not. If you want anybody to go and call them back to come and do it for you, or bring that for you. So I have always had the passion to go to school like my brother. I think that is just natural. When your brothers go, you want to go. But I have always been so curious. Even though I'm an English teacher, I am that person who always keeps researching. I research a lot. I read everything that I can put my hands on. I read novels, holy books, science journals. I listen to documentaries, especially science. I am so infatuated with science. I am so much into it. And biology, physics. I read all of things, or everything that I can get my hands on. Perhaps it's curiosity.
And science makes you to become an atheist.
Oh, don't touch that.
You don't atheist. You know the Quran very well.
Yeah.
You know the Bible very well, but you don't belong to any.
Yeah, I don't belong to any. Perhaps before I leave this house, I will belong to one.
But because you are going to belong here very soon. Not by our power, by the power of God. We are expecting you to ask questions. Okay, ma'am.
Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
Mr. Lee, you are welcome to United Church of Christ International, the home of restoration. So what I want to ask you this morning, so I have two questions here, but let me ask you this one first, then we can go to the other one. When I came to Gambia, I heard that the former president gave free education to all females. So now, my question is, in a family that doesn't have what it takes to send their children to school,
Okay.
which gender do you think should be better sent to school? If there is no money to send all, which gender? Because I heard you talking about marriage, that is good for a woman, a wife to be learned. So in that case now, in a family where they don't have much resources to send the children to school, which gender should be sent to school?
I don't think that's a very good question, but I don't think they should choose upon gender. The choice should not be made upon gender, but should be made on which child is more intelligent, or the most intelligent child, the one that they believe could cope better or could learn better, is the one that should be sent to.
To add to that question,
The one that is not intelligent, you don't think they should go? At least education is all about sharpening the brain, sharpening the mind.
Yeah, just said they don't have money.
Yeah, again, education has different corners. Like that's why even in my speech, I kept talking about education and skills, right? Because sometimes some people are not just meant for that education. There are students that you teach, no matter how much you break it down, they never just get to understand what you're saying. And it is not because they are indisciplined, here or something like it, or they don't want to learn, but they just don't get it. So that is why I would be very, very happy if our government starts to open like sports academies for students that cannot just handle it, right? Or, okay, it's very important now that we have clothing and textile in high school. My school is teaching that, right? And we have tailoring and all of that. My principal also introduced that a little while ago. And that is so very good. And let us have technical centers where we can teach some of these students, because sometimes education is not just one way. For me, education is anything that could help you survive and is good. It's not harmful to you or somebody else. Right? As long as you can learn it and get your survival through that, it's good. Whether it's the football, whether it's the music, whether it is the tailoring, or whatever it is, as long as you can learn and get your livelihood out of it, it's very good.
Okay, thank you. Then the second question is, because I heard you say something about women, education, and marriage. You did not tell us anything like disadvantage of education.
Education has disadvantages. Well, I think the only person that would choose education is, for lack of a better word, okay, let me say if I were to choose not to be educated, then it would mean I want to remain ignorant, which is a very dangerous thing, because without education, even if I'm sick, I don't know what I'm sick with, right? Without education, I don't even know the use of a hospital, because I don't know. Without education, I cannot even, education is what drives life and civilization. So without it, the human world will be a dark place. That is why we have slavery. It was because of education and the lack of education that we have people enslaving others, owning them. It was because of lack of education that we have a lot of dark part of history, colonization. All of that, we left all that behind because the human mind has grown in education. We have become better people because of education. So we are able to leave all of those dark part of human history behind. So I really don't know of any disadvantage that education could have.
Okay, since you don't know of any disadvantage, have you ever heard of women emancipation?
Yes. Emancipation as in freedom of women.
Yeah. You don't think it's as a result of education? Because you said when you don't have education, you will not even know when you are being abused.
Yeah.
You understand? So you don't think it's this too much education that led to that women emancipation?
Are you saying giving women their rights and not abusing women is wrong? Are you also saying that for women to know when they are abused is the wrong thing? I think it is very good for women and girls to know when they are being abused by their fathers, when they are being abused by their uncles. When it's very good for women, for girls to know where uncles should touch them and not touch them. It is very important that girls know what is love and what is not love. So that is education, and that is very important for women. it's very important for women to know when their husbands are taking advantages of them. Any holy man of God would not do that, I think. Alright? So, but education is, you see, as Einstein said, education is not only learning about facts, it's training the mind how to think. Alright? And another philosopher said that when you know better, you do better. And education that is what education gives you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
Mr. Jalo, God bless you. I want to know, like, when you are preparing this your notes now, do you ever make a mistake? And when using the projector, how do you know when you make a mistake?
Now, I'm trying something here. I don't know whether it will work. I'm trying to put on the laptop here very soon. Then you will start to hear each voice. This has a screen reader. This computer. Oh, my phone is right here. I have just shown it. Anyway, so this computer has a screen reader. Anything I want, if I wanted to say A, it would say A. If I want to silence it too, because I'm so used to the keyboard that I know what I'm typing, it would do that. But when I also make a spelling error, it does make a sound. It would make a sound like a paper tearing up to show me that I've made a spelling error. And thus I will know, oh, that was a spelling error. I will go back to the word and rectify it.
The youth, I have a question also. I want to give the youth time to ask, because none of you have ever asked what I want to ask him.
Mr. Jalo,
Yes.
how are you doing?
I'm quite honored to be here.
You are so awesome. You are so. The question I want to ask you that. Do you have a girlfriend?
Please, we are learning.
That's an excellent question.
It looks funny, but it's a good question.
It's a wonderful question. And I think I just...
Please, let's listen, please.
I confided in Pastor, was it a month ago?
Like 2 weeks ago.
I confided in Pastor having lost my girlfriend. So right now I have no girlfriend. So
You have no girlfriend.
no, I don't.
Do you intend to have one?
Oh yes. I intend to. Well, one thing.
Please, let's stop this. We are learning. You are laughing after I don't learn nothing. Yes, Mr. Jalo, we are hearing you.
She asked a question, and I would not lie in the house of God. Yes, I intend to have a girlfriend.
Thank you very much.
Now you definitely become a wife. Okay, Mr. Jalo, for you to get to this level, I know that it's not an easy journey. The society, discrimination, lack of encouragement, especially in this part of Africa. You may have the potential in you to become great, but there are some forces out there. I'm not talking of witchcraft now. Physical forces that want to suppress you. Did your parents support you in becoming what you become today?
I happen to come from a family that is not well off.
That is not?
Well off. We aren't rich. So my mother struggled a lot with my education. She's my everything. I don't like, you see, when I talk about my mother, she's just that person who, when I talk about, I can tear because of how much love and care she has shown me. But until today, my only regret is I feel that I've not done enough for her with all my education. Like, because nothing I do can ever be enough to repay her for her struggles. My mom used to be one who would walk on foot to Tipagaras just to go and get me from school. She would walk when she doesn't have money, she would walk on foot to go up to Tipagaras. Then we were staying at Colori. She would walk up to Tipagaras on foot and get me there. she used to struggle a lot for me. She did everything for me. When I was at school, man, she helped me. She helped me so much. Oh God, mothers are, oh God, they are just what they are. Yeah.
Teaching as a career.
I wanted to be a DJ. I have fallen in love with music since I was a child. But I wanted to be a teacher because I love to share knowledge. I love it to share. I love being around people and sharing knowledge. Actually, when I was in grade 9, and we had this break after the exam, the YF exam, I in fact went to the blind school, you know. I did not sit at home. I went straight to the blind school, and I was asking if at any time a teacher is free or they are not teaching their class, I would ask them, can I go and teach your class? And then I was in grade 9 then, when I would go and teach them FLE and integrated studies. And so since I was in school, I had the desire to teach, the passion to teach. It had always been there.
Now you are teaching in a school where everybody can see. When you submit your application in that school, did they personally accept you or?
No. No.
How do you enter the school to become a teacher in high school?
Actually, when I went there and wrote everything, they accepted me because, I proved myself, right? I proved myself. I was not given the job based on whether
you can see or not.
They know, because these people know very well. Actually, my first teaching practice when I in fact went to Bagote to teach there, I remember the principal saying, "Oh, but look, let me call that office at education, the Ministry of Education, to ask them how you can do it." I told him, "Sir, please, I'm here to teach, just give me a class." And the first time I was teaching in a class, in fact, my first class was a grade 7 class. So when I went there, they gave me a small chair that when you sit on, the students can even look and look into your ear and see everything, because the chair was lower than the table that the students were sitting on actually. But then I told them, no, I'm not here to sit down, I'm here to teach. And until today, I never sit in class when I'm teaching. I don't sit in class. I don't enjoy that. It would be like I'm not doing it. I cannot sit down. And at my school too, the principal doesn't allow teachers to sit down. You have to stand. You don't have to sit while the lesson is going on. And I've never enjoyed that myself. And I've always felt very alive in the class, sharing and teaching knowledge. And I prepare my lessons very well. I research from different books and compare and compile my own notes using my own examples from every source. Yes.
We don't know that principal, but that principal, may God bless him high. Because in Africa here, when you are physically challenged, they relegate you immediately. They may not come clearly and tell you, but they have it at the back of their mind that this world cannot become anything in life. That woman who accept you, may God bless her. And another question, what are the challenges you have on the road to your success? Right from your childhood, junior school, to say primary school, secondary school, and higher institution before you become a teacher. What are the challenges?
I remember many a time when I would walk from
youth listening, please.
When I would walk from my school, going up the traffic light on foot. When I don't have money, I would walk. And I used to enjoy walking very well, because that was the time I was able to write poetry, because I am also a writer, a poet. So I struggled a lot. I went to school many a time on an empty stomach, hungry all day.
As a teacher?
No, as a student.
As a student?
Yeah, I would be sitting at my my stomach would be growling at me, I'll tell him, my boy, just sit down and until we get home. So, yeah, but you know, that is life. It's normal. This is the. So I mean, I live that life. I wake up, mommy, do you have anything today? All I have here is your fare. Okay, fine. Let me just have that, and I go. I mean, because I was looking forward to the day, like today. The day when I will be narrating this story. I'm not living this story. So yeah, today I'm here. I'm not having to sit in a classroom and my stomach is growling. And I am fit at the end of every month, so I'm able to manage whatever I have. So that pastime has gone. I mean, so you see, this is the thing about education. When you are learning and it is difficult, always look forward to the day when what you are living at that particular moment would be a story and nothing more. Another question for you.
Mr. Adam, please, may I know how you do to get to walk?
How?
How do you
Usually get to work.
How do I get to work?
Yes.
Oh, I travel. I commute like everybody else. I am very independent on my feet. No one takes me anywhere I want to go. I have my white cane. As long as I am with it, I feel very confident. I go anywhere in the Gambia. There is no place that I wouldn't go. And I would go by myself. And I wouldn't go with anyone. I walk up the main road, take a vehicle, disembark at Turntable. Turntable is very difficult these days to travel, but I manage. And when I reach a traffic light, I would sometimes listen carefully when there are obstacles coming, which is very dangerous. There are some cars now that almost don't make any noise. Perhaps I should leave that, so I should be careful. But I manage, and when people are there to help me cross the road, I cross the road, and then go on my way. Yeah.
Another question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jalo, for this. My question is actually a follow-up to the question of Mrs. Igwe. Because we are talking of education and we are dealing with youth, is there a level of learning, of curiosity, or education that becomes dangerous? Because I think when we can learn good things, there are also bad things out there that can be learned.
Like what?
So we need to.
Can you give an example of bad things that
we can learn good morals, we can learn good manners. There are also bad manners.
Like
there are also like influences from bad friends and other society. I can also give you an instance of in the religious setting. I heard of a man that was really doing well in music and doing very well, and all of a sudden he got spiritual, and then he started learning what they call 7 Books of Moses. Before we know it, he became mental and lost his mind because there were things that became too much for him to grasp. And while I don't want to dwell so much in the spirituality aspect, since I understand your stand, but I'm looking at it, are there aspects of education or learning that are dangerous, and if there are, or that are not good or healthy, or areas that want to, if there are, is there a way to balance these things? Because there are things that might also corrupt mind. Just while we prepare the mind for good things, I think we should also avoid things that can corrupt the mind.
Very, very, very good. Now, that's why I try to tailor my definition of education to acquiring of knowledge or skill that can help a person survive, right? That can contribute to the well-being or the survival. So that is the education I came to talk about today. The education that would help you survive, right? The education that will help you live and not depend on anybody. I would advise every youth to be careful of learning things that can deepen you into the paranormal. You know, oh, I want to go and learn about ghosts. So what? What would learning about ghosts help you do? what way would that help you about? Unless you want to join them, I don't know, but anybody who tells me I want to go and learn about ghosts, I will run away from them. So don't go and learn about ghost youths. Don't go and learn about spirits and things of this sort. I think let us learn about those things that are essential to our survival, right? Things that can help us become independent, become dignified, become respectable people in society. And you are very right. We should not learn about those things that are bad. Of course, that would not be, comprehensive to anything that is survival. The spiritual realm, I think you know my stance, so.
Education is learning something essential to our survival.
Yes. That is my...
Youth, you are not concentrating at all. Youth, which meeting are you having there? Okay, any other question? We are going to take one or two more.
Good morning, Mr. Okay. The question I wanted to ask is, it's similar to what Pastor asked about the challenges. Growing up, you have a lot of challenges in life.
Yeah.
So, did you ever felt like quitting? And if you ever did, like, what was the challenge or what were the challenges that resulted to you having that kind of thoughts?
The only time I thought of quitting education was when my grade 4 teacher whacked me on the bottom. Sorry. He whacked me so hard that I said, I will leave school. He said, what? I said, I will leave school. He whacked me again. And he had a special corner he put me in, was called Yellow Corner. He would always take me there and beat me because I was so stubborn. I used to fight and do other stuff. When I was in grade 4, but that was grade 4. But apart from that, I enjoyed my education. And the same teacher was the one who, when I did so well in my mathematics class, would tell me, I'm going to take you straight to grade 6. And he would bring me out of the class just to, make the other students be amazed about my. So, but I love education. Like, I love unearthing new knowledge. I love that. I love discovery. And for me, education is a way to discover. Let me just narrate you one story. When the first time I received my grade 7 books, grade 7 textbook in Braille, you know what I did for that whole week? Right? Because I received it during the holidays, in the second term. For the whole week, I would just sit, enjoying reading. And my mom would say, come on, go back. Shouldn't you go and take a walk? I said, no, I'm enjoying reading this general science book about water evaporation, water cycle. I was so fascinated about how does the rain come down. Right? So for me, education has always been, how can I discover the next new knowledge, the next new thing, the next step, right? That's for me. So I never thought of reading.
I want to ask you, how do you maintain peace at home? Are you alone or is someone with you?
How do I maintain things? I have a very rough room as an unmarried man, So I don't know how I maintain things, but I know that I do well, and people do help me out on those things I cannot do, like dishing me from the kitchen and the like. Because it would be a messy kitchen if I were to go and dish any food. Somebody would not like that. So those things people I ask to help me. But everything else I do for myself. Yeah. Oh, actually, where I am living, I can wash clothes very well. Because at the blind school, when we were children, just grade 2 and 3, we were taught how to wash clothes and how to wash. We were given handkerchiefs and taught how to wash it. So I know that you have to do it like this anyway. So you have to hold it and then do it if you're washing that. But I don't wash my clothes these days. We have a washing machine at home that I do.
Yes, sir. How were you playing?
Huh?
How were you playing?
How was I like?
Playing.
When did I lose my sight? When did I become? Oh, how? Oh, okay. It was through a particular disease. I had it when I was studying somewhere. Started somewhere when I was about 3, and then it began with my ears. My mom says that, always tells me that it started with my ears bleeding. I had that problem, and they would take me. Then I was just three. So they would take me to the hospital, and then later, when you know, a scan was done on my skull and areas like it was discovered that I had some kind of swelling around my eyes inside, and it had to be operated. Both eyes had to be operated on. If not, it would lead to my death. So, yeah, so my family had to sign that I will be operated on, because the procedure also, as my mom narrated, it could have gone wrong anyway, but I survived. So, but it was assured that if I survived the operation, I would be blind, but I wouldn't die from that disease. So it was either I have to live with that, the disease would become worse and be my death, or they had to take a chance and operate on me, and that's what they did. And I lost both eyes when I was just 4.
Mr. Jallo?
Yes.
You said you're using WhatsApp.
Yes.
So my question is, how do you know the kind of message that comes to your WhatsApp message?
What type of phone do you use?
iPhone.
I'm not very friendly with iPhone because they have too many passwords and talks like that. Oh, I wish my phone was here, but I just left God. I gave it to you have it here? Is it close? Yeah, but that is so easy. You see, now I think that I got it before we leave. That is what I should close with, which is very important. The phone has a screen reader. Okay, excellent. Can you hear that? Can you hear that? Yes. Okay. Now, Pastor. Yes. Come here. You will tell them what is on the screen and then okay. Now you can see, right? Okay. What is that phone, right? What did you hear? And Pastor, that's WhatsApp, right? Yes. Now enter WhatsApp. Alright, Pastor. Now I want to go to African Blindness Support. African Blindness Support, right? Now, okay. Now this is a message that was sent here. Now I'm going to play a message from a friend. Now here. You heard that? Yeah. So actually it's an easy thing. Just by listening, I can go and type my messages, I can listen to WhatsApp, I can in fact, type on status and see who has sent what status and something like that. Pictures I cannot of course tell, but also the technology has a feature that tells you who is on the picture, whether they are wearing glasses or whether they are having long hair, and what color the picture has, and the person on the picture, what is their skin color and all of that. Technology is so now I think that would prompt me to say this. You see, Africa is a very sad continent. You see, when the whole world is studying science, investing in education, in technology, you know what we are interested in? Oh, we are interested in Kalemoko Leka, right? That is more what we are interested in. Who ate who flew where, who landed in which room, where midnight they eat who, and things like that. I think it is time for Africa to leave, some things of that sort behind, and now start to focus more on education and technology. We need engineers. Look at us. Whatever we are to build today, we would have to call outsiders. Even a bridge, we cannot build on our own. We can construct that on our own. It's so sad. Every device that we use, even the simplest machine that we are using here, most of them, they are not made in the Gambia. They are not made in Senegal. They are made in the Western world. Why? Is it that they have more brain power than us? No. So it is time. It is time for Africa to rise. It is time for you to put this behind us. This always being second and begging from other countries. It is time that Africa puts that behind. Because they are not more intelligent than us. They don't have more IQ than us. They are simply humans like us, right? Right?
Yes.
It saddens me when I ask some science students, what is a telescope? And they cannot even tell me. Einstein says that education is not about learning facts. Or evaporation is this, transpiration is that, or metamorphosis is this, or photosynthesis is that. It's not about learning definitions, it's learning how to think. Yes, education should train your mind how to think. When you are learning, you should be a critical thinker. You should ask questions. Why does not the moon fall on the earth? Has any of you ever asked that question? You look at the moon and say, oh, why does not the moon fall on us? Now that is an intelligent question. Right? These were the questions that Isaac Newton asked. Okay, if I throw this bottle up, why does it come down? Those are the questions. Those are the questions that people should ask. Oh, why is light the fastest thing? Why is it that when I press a turn on a torch, it reaches there, the light reaches at that place instantly? Why? These are the questions that Einstein asked. Oh, how can a bird fly? What makes a bird fly? But do we ask those questions?
No.
No. Our students, sometimes I'm sad to know some students are science students. Because you know what, when I ask them, oh, what do you want to be? A nurse. That is all. Every science student you ask, what do you want to be? A nurse. A doctor. You know, if doctors, nurses, and teachers were what Africa needs to be a technologically advanced continent, no one would have surpassed us. Because all of our students only want to be teachers, lawyers, doctors, nurses, period. You don't hear anyone say, I want to be a pilot. You don't hear anyone say, I want to be an astronaut. You don't hear anyone say, I want to be an engineer. What is wrong? Could it be our teachers, science teachers are not doing well? So you should start asking questions now. Right? Especially you science students. We need you if we are going to look. The UAE, United Arab Emirates, they are now part of the International Space Station program. In fact, they are sending a probe to Mars very soon. Where are we? The only two African countries that have ever sent satellite into space are Ghana and Kenya. No other countries have ever done that. What is our problem? So we have to be better than this, right? So we have to learn to ask questions, curious questions, serious questions that can reveal knowledge to us, serious questions that can make us discover things and to manipulate our environment. Because that is the only thing that makes the Westerners more advanced than us. Because of the questions they ask and how they work towards solving those problems. Sorry, yes.
Okay. You are a very, very intelligent man. What you see now touch me a lot by saying that you have some questions. Why the moon won't fall to the earth? Why the bird fly? Why see that do something more and come down. In this part of Africa, we find ourselves. But that's not a question. It's you as a madman. That has killed some that want to ask, they are not able to ask. Even there are some teachers who ask questions. They say, sit down. Because they don't know that question will get from research. The only way to silence you is to shut you up. That's the kind of Africa we find ourselves. And we pray that people like you will change. I want you to learn something today. Question is question. This lady asked me, everybody might ask. If I ask you now, what is the answer this man gave? Nobody can answer. Because you have laughed everything, what the question answer is with. Not every question will laugh. Education is beyond the classroom. What we are doing today, we are learning. But unfortunately, maybe only 1% will learn. Many of us are informed. That's why it's very difficult to see the youth we came here for to ask questions, because as the man was talking, their mind is not here at all. When somebody is preaching, teaching, you can be writing something down. There may be no time to ask that person on the pulpit, but you can look for a quiet time. Please, I want to see you. Maybe during the week, you book appointment, you ask questions concerning what that man taught you. But here, we don't do it in Africa. Not only here, but in Africa, we don't do it. And only those people that are doing it, we are seeing them high. They now say they have law. There is no law. What we fail to do is what they are doing that transform their life, and we remain under them. We now say we don't take them at all. No, because put us to that level now, we put ourselves there. God will help us in Jesus' name.
Mr. Jalo? Yes, I want to ask, just like you said, you are a teacher, and I know that maybe sometimes you are paid with check.
Yes, I am.
Okay, now. So if you go to the bank, what have been your challenges when you go to the bank? And supposing you were mistakenly underpaid, how do you identify that you are underpaid?
Actually, I've never had the misfortune of being underpaid, actually, because I think that would be a terrible phenomenon to that bank. But I don't face challenges. Normally, actually, I think the Gambia has worked really well on that part. People with challenges, or physically challenged people, or differently able people with disabilities. Again, if you don't know what people with disabilities mean, it's just a nice way of saying people who have problems with their bodies, whether it's the eye, the leg. So it is, we call that people with disabilities or differently able people. Anyway, when at the bank, we are given privilege, special privilege. We don't queue at the bank. Unless you don't know that you shouldn't queue, but most banks, we don't queue. Right? Yeah. So, and for me, I trust them when they I say, okay, pay me, just give me that. So when they say that, I just go. And normally I don't count my money.
Last question, last question because of our time. We are still coming here again and again. If you have not prepared today, when next we come again and we announce it, prepare to ask questions. We have a lot to learn.
Mr. Jalo, how do you know that this way to bamboo or this way to Bogart?
Very good question. You see, that's what I like. You're a student, right?
Yes, a student. Good.
Excellent. Keep asking questions. Those questions that will bring you knowledge. You see, there is something called, or something I would call, I don't know, never read it called anywhere like that, but I would call it sound distortion. I navigate using sound. You navigate using your eyes, right? You look at that, you say, oh, that's the wall there. The door is there. But I navigate by listening. Now, if you come close to a wall, right, and walk parallel to it, don't you sometimes feel that there is something, even if you are not looking at the wall, but don't you sometimes feel that the sound from that side is being blocked? You do, right? Or when someone just comes and stands behind you without you seeing them, what makes you feel that there is someone standing behind you? Huh? Your hair rises. Yes. But there is something that stimulates that hair rising. And yes, someone said something. Huh? Spirit.
So there are many that I go when somebody comes closer to me, I realize that this person, I will not identify the person. But I will notice there is somebody around or I'm around something somewhere else.
And you think it's spirit that makes you feel that?
So the spirit of the person that is in him or her.
The spirit in that person?
Yes, that makes me to know.
As a scientific person, someone who goes by evidence and stuff like that, perhaps I might be very, it might be very difficult to convince you of that. But let me just tell you of how I detect that and then others detect that. What happens is, you are constantly hearing something, right? Your ears are listening constantly, right? They have no covers, right? So each time something comes around you, whether this way or that way, you know that it is distorting, it is blocking some part of that sound that you should have been hearing. I think, are you getting the concept here? It's not like when you are looking at the road, right? And it's empty. Okay, let's say you are watching a show on television and someone passes in front of you. What happens? You stop, at that particular moment, you stop seeing what you were seeing, right? Because someone has just blocked your view to that thing you were looking at, right? The same thing with sound. Sound too, when objects of mass come to certain areas or position themselves to certain areas in relation to your ear, it blocks some part of that sound that you should have, that you were freely hearing before the object got there. So it's sound distortion. That is why it is very hard for me to hit a car that is standing. Not a car that which the engine is on. Even a car that is not, that is not running, which the engine is not running. I don't hit it normally. Because the moment I get just 2 meters from the car, there will be sound distortion. I will realize immediately that there is a car there. Because that the object, the mass of the car will block some of the sound that was coming freely to my ears. Also, that is how I will not sometimes, all the time know that I've reached a junction. Because a junction is actually a particular point where new sounds would reach your ears. Because remember, there were walls all around you on both left and right. But the moment you reach a junction, new sounds coming from that part that is not blocked would start to reach your ears, and you say, oh, yeah, I've reached. It's just like going to your kitchen. When you are not in the kitchen, you don't get all the beautiful smells. But the moment you enter the kitchen, your nose starts picking up those beautiful wafting smells. The same thing with sound. The sound also alters the same way, right? And objects of mass do distort sound or change the way you hear it. I hope that was helpful.
I want to go to your spiritual aspect. As you said, I don't know, do you believe in God?
No, did I answer that question, Pastor?
It's a notice for young age, just like 6 months ago.
So, how do you feel the church?
How do you feel the church today?
I feel brilliant. This is my first time in the church. And I'm a free person now. I'm not shackled to any particular religion. So when I told somebody I was coming to a church this Sunday to give a speech, they said, what? You're going to church? Are you not a Muslim? I said, no, I'm not a Muslim. I'm free. I can go anywhere I want to go. If I want to go to a synagogue, I'll go to a synagogue. If I want to go to a church, I'll go to a church. Right? So I'm good. I feel very good, and I feel very happy, and I feel very welcome.
Do you know that you are speaking to one and very funny?
That would be a blessing.
And your message will be on YouTube by Wednesday.
That's quite fine.
I will send a link to you.
Brilliant.
Everybody in your world can watch you.
That's fantastic.
You allow us to be there?
Oh yeah, you know, one thing that I cherish is the freedom of the human being to pursue what they feel is worthy in life. Because a person can never reach their full potential until they are free from the shackles of other people's beliefs. Well, as long as you are beholden to what other people think you should believe or how they should behave, perhaps you are not yet free. But once you are free and you are able to defend your position, like I am, because I defend my position as an atheist very well, so I'm good, really. I could be on the BBC if you don't mind.
Praise God. Mr. Jano, on behalf of the entire church, where you are today's call, the name Eden Church of Christ International, we want to say a big thank you. We really appreciate you for taking time to talk to us. I want you to understand us from today, we are partners. We can call you on any time, give you a topic to talk to you, or we create a topic as we have done today. We just want our youth to be better, to know the reason why they are living, and also have a better future. I pray that this will not be your last time here. And what we are discussing privately, you said the day you will believe God is the day your eyes will be open. Do you remember?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, something like that. Something like that.
Okay, and I promise you that it may not be sooner as we expected, but when our prayer point as from today.
Okay.
There was a man like you in the Bible, his name is Bartimaeus. He has been blind for many years, but one day he received his sight. Today, as a church, we are going to pray for you because we believe that we have a God that can do what no man can do. And after our prayer, we are going to bless you with a gift. And we believe that God Almighty will touch you. You may sleep this night, and before you wake up in the morning, you open your eyes, you can see. Because today is your first time entering church. And God must glorify Himself in your life. Church, let's be on our feet. It's not asking for money. It's not asking for good health. It's asking that God open my eyes. I want you to stretch your hands towards Him in faith and pray that, Lord, as a